Daniel was 43 the day he learned that the strongest thing a man can do is nothing at all. He was sitting in a conference room on the 7th floor. A younger man across the table smiled and said, "We all know who really carried that project." It was a small knife wrapped in a joke. Everyone in the room heard it. And Daniel did what he had done his whole life. He defended himself. He laid out the timeline. He named the hours, the late nights, the proof. He won. Every fact was on his side. But that night he couldn't sleep, because somewhere underneath, he already knew the truth. He had won the argument and lost the room. The second he flinched, the second he reached for the proof, he told everyone, watching the same thing. That the knife had landed, that a single sentence from a smaller man could still move him. That is the trap most men live in their entire lives. They think being right is power. It isn't. Power is being unmoved. Here is what nobody told you. Every time you react, you make a payment. You spend your calm. You spend your time. You spend a piece of yourself on people who never earned it. And the people who know how to push your buttons, they're not stronger than you. They've just found the lever. They don't need an army. They need 3 seconds of your reaction. And they own you. This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming free. This knowledge is for protection, not for cruelty. You're learning this to become a man who can't be manipulated, not to become a manipulator. Say that once and remember it. But I'll warn you before we go further. Most men who go quiet are not powerful. They're hiding. They're afraid. Their silence makes them weaker, not stronger. There is one difference. One single line between silence that builds a throne and silence that digs a grave. Most men never learn to tell them apart. I'll give you that line at the very end. If you get it wrong, everything I'm about to teach you turns into poison. So before we begin, plant your flag. Type this in the comments. Nothing moves me. Type it now. Because the men who say it out loud are the ones who actually change. 500 years ago, a man in exile wrote the manual for this. Machiavelli was stripped of his rank, tortured, and thrown out of the city he served. And in that silence he saw something most men spend their whole lives refusing to see. That power is not loud, that the man everyone fears is rarely the man who shouts. Let's take what he learned, and let's make you impossible to control. Law 1. The flinch. The first thing you have to understand is that your reaction is a leak. Watch yourself the next time someone takes a shot at you. There's a half second before you speak, a heat in the chest, a tightening in the jaw. That's the flinch, and the flinch is information. It tells the other man exactly where you're soft and exactly how hard to press. Most men think they get manipulated because the other person is clever. Wrong. You get manipulated because you're readable. A man who reacts the same way every time is a machine with a button. Insult his work, he defends. Question his courage, he proves it. Doubt his woman, he explodes. He thinks he's standing up for himself. He's just performing on command. Machiavelli understood that fortune favors the man who keeps his own counsel and punishes the man who can be predicted. The predictable man is already half conquered because his enemy can plan around him. He's a clock. You wind him and he chimes. So here is the law. The reaction is the leak. And the leak is the loss. When the jab comes, you do nothing first. You let the half second pass. You look at the man. You hold the silence for 3 full breaths before you decide whether he's even worth a word. Most of the time he isn't. And the moment you stop chiming on command, something shifts in the room. They feel it before they understand it. The button is gone, and they don't know where you put it. But not reacting is only the surface. The deeper game is making sure they never learn how to read you in the first place. That's the next law, Law 2, the cost of being readable. Every man you've ever met has been quietly building a file on you. Not on purpose, it's just what people do. They watch what makes you laugh, what makes you furious, what makes you small. And the more they know, the more they own. Machiavelli wrote one line that every man should carve into his mind. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few ever touch what you are. That is the whole secret of power in a single breath. The world reacts to your surface, so the man who controls his surface controls the world's reaction to him. The weak man does the opposite. He explains himself, he overshares, he tells you his plans, his fears, his wounds, his whole strategy, because he confuses being honest with being known. He thinks the more people understand him, the safer he is. It's the reverse. Every truth he hands out becomes a handle someone can grab. Think about the most powerful man you've ever been near. He didn't tell you much, did he? You left the room knowing he was strong, and not much else. That wasn't an accident, that was the work. So practice this. When someone asks what you're working on, give them less than they expect. When someone fishes for your weakness disguised as concern, smile and change the subject. You're not lying, you're just refusing to hand a stranger the map of where you can be hurt. A man with no visible weak point is a man no one knows how to attack. And once they can't read you, your silence stops being absence. It becomes a weapon. Let me show you how to Law 3. Silence as a weapon, not a wound. There are two kinds of silence, and weak men only know one of them. The first is the silence of the sulk. The man who goes quiet because he's hurt and wants you to notice. That silence screams. It begs to be asked what's wrong. It's a tantrum with the volume turned down. Everyone can smell it, and it makes you smaller. The second is the silence of the man who has simply decided you're not worth his words. That silence doesn't beg for anything. It gives nothing back, and it is the most aggressive move you can make, because it leaves the other person standing in a vacuum, and the human mind cannot stand a vacuum. Here's the mechanism. When a man attacks you, and you answer, you've confirmed that he matters. You've told him he reached you, but when you give him nothing, his mind starts to spin. Did you see it? Did it bother you? Do you even care? He'll replay it for days. He'll check to see if you reacted. He'll send a second message just to feel the relief of any response at all. You forgot him in 11 seconds. He's still fighting you in his head a week later. That is psychological war without you firing a shot. He's losing a battle you already walked away from. Machiavelli watched leaders destroy themselves answering every rumor, every critic, every petty attack, until they were trapped in an endless defense and had no strength left to rule. The ones who lasted simply let their enemies scream into the dark. So the next time someone hands you a reason to react, give them the second silence. Not the wounded one, the decided one. Read the message, feel nothing, set the phone down, and go on with your life like the man never existed. Your indifference will hurt him more than any answer you could ever write. But silence is a tool you use in a room. The next law is about leaving the room entirely. Law 4, the withdrawal that pulls. Most men get this one backward and ruin their whole lives with it. When a man finally learns that silence is power, his first instinct is to vanish. Cut everyone off, disappear into a cave, and call it strength. That's not power, that's running. The man who ghosts the world becomes irrelevant, not untouchable. He didn't win the game, he quit the table. Real power is not absence, it's scarcity. There's a difference, and the difference is everything. Watch what happens to the man who's always available. Always replies in 1 minute, always free, always there, always saying yes. He thinks he's being loyal. The world reads it as weakness. He becomes furniture. He becomes the backup plan. The man who'll always be there is the man no one ever has to choose. Now watch the man who's selective, sometimes warm, sometimes gone, there when it matters, absent when it doesn't. You never quite know when you'll have him, so you think about him. You value the time he gives because it isn't guaranteed. His presence has weight because it's rare. Machiavelli understood that a prince keeps his power by making his favor valuable, and you cannot make something valuable by giving it away to everyone for free. The leader who is everywhere is worth nothing anywhere. So stop being so reachable. Let some messages breathe before you answer. Leave the room while they still want more of you, not after they've had their fill. Make your presence a thing men have to earn instead of a thing they assume. You're not playing games with them. You're simply refusing to be taken for granted. And a man who refuses to be taken for granted is a man who gets respected. Now we go one level deeper, because the strongest men don't just control when they react. They control whether they'll play the game at all. Law 5. Refuse the frame. Here's something no one ever teaches you. Every provocation is an invitation to a game whose rules are rigged against you. When a man insults you, he's not just being rude, he's offering you a frame, a set of rules where the only moves are defend, deny, or attack, and every one of those moves means he's now in control of your behavior. The second you step into his frame, you've already lost, even if you win the exchange. Because you let him decide what the conversation is about. The fox sees the trap. That's the lesson Machiavelli pressed harder than almost any other. A man needs the cunning of the fox to recognize the snares laid for him, because the lion who only knows how to charge will charge straight into the net every time. Strength without sight is just a louder way to lose. So when someone throws down a frame, you don't take the bait, and you don't fight the bait. You refuse the frame entirely. Someone tries to drag you into an argument about your character. You don't defend your character. You look at them and you say, "That's an interesting thing for you to bring up," and you let it sit. Now the spotlight is on them. You didn't play their game, you made them stand in it alone. Let me ask you something directly. Who in your life would lose their power over you the day you stopped reacting? Don't name them, just describe what they do, the little jab, the cold silence they use as a leash, the guilt they hand you like a gift. Put it in the comments. Because half the men reading this are going to recognize someone, and the other half are going to recognize themselves. When you stop stepping into other men's frames, you take back the one thing they were stealing. Your attention. But there's a hunger inside you that keeps handing it back, and until you kill that hunger, none of this holds. That's the next law, and it's the one that hurts. Law 6. Kill the need to be understood. The deepest leash on a man is not money. It's not status. It's the need to be understood. You feel it every time someone gets you wrong. That itch to correct the record, to explain what you really meant, to make them see that you're not the person they think you are. It feels like dignity. It's actually a chain. Because the man who needs to be understood will perform, bend, and explain himself for anyone willing to misunderstand him on purpose. And manipulative people learn this fast. They'll misread you deliberately, just to watch you scramble to fix it. Here's the part that's hard to swallow. The man who needs to be understood is easier to enslave than the man who needs to be feared. Give me a man desperate to be seen as good, and I'll control him with a single raised eyebrow. I'll just imply he's not, and watch him spend an hour proving he is. The unmoved man has let that need die. He knows who he is. He doesn't audit other people's opinions of him, because their opinion was never the thing that made him real. Let them think you're cold. Let them think you're arrogant. Let them build whatever story about you keeps them comfortable. You are not a lawyer for your own reputation. You have work to do. This is the counter that breaks people when they first hear it. Your silence only becomes power on the day you'd be fine never being understood again. As long as part of you is still begging to be seen, you'll keep leaking, keep explaining, keep paying the tax. Cut that cord and watch how fast the manipulators run out of moves. Now, this might sound like I'm telling you to feel nothing. I'm not. The next law is the line between control and coldness, and it's a line most men never find. Law 7. The armor is not numbness. People hear all this, and they think the goal is to become a stone. To feel nothing, to kill the heart and call it strength. That's not strength. That's just a different kind of weakness wearing armor. The disciplined man feels everything. He feels the insult land. He feels the urge to fire back. The heat, the pull. The difference is, he doesn't pay it out. He feels the storm, and he doesn't cancel the mission because of weather. Think of it the way Machiavelli thought about ruling. You are the prince of yourself, and your emotions are your subjects. A wise ruler doesn't pretend his people are silent. He listens to them, but he does not let them seize the throne and run the kingdom into the ground. When they riot, he governs them. He does not obey them, and so when the anger comes, you don't deny it. You notice it. You say to yourself, "There it is," and you keep your hands still. The feeling is allowed to exist. It is just not allowed to drive. That's the whole skill. Not the absence of emotion, the refusal to be commanded by it. This is why the unmoved man is so unsettling to be around. People can see he's not dead inside. They can feel there's a fire in there. He just doesn't hand them the matches. They push the old buttons and get nothing. And slowly they realize the buttons aren't broken. He simply moved them somewhere they'll never find. A man like that doesn't need to win every fight, because he's learned that some fights win themselves if you just refuse to show up. That's the next law, and it's the patient man's weapon. Law 8. Outlast, don't owe you fight. There's a kind of victory most men never use because it looks like doing nothing. It's the victory of the man who simply outlasts the storm. Someone spreads a lie about you, the weak move is to chase it, call everyone, correct the record. Defend your name in every room. You'll exhaust yourself fighting smoke, and worse, your panic will make the lie look true. Why is he so worked up if there's nothing to it? The strong move is to let it run. You keep living with your head up. You keep producing results that contradict the lie just by existing. And here's what happens. The people who matter already know your character. The people repeating the lie eventually look like fools when reality refuses to match their story. The rumor dies of starvation, and you never spent a drop of energy feeding it. Machiavelli knew that time itself is a weapon, and the patient man wields it against enemies who burn themselves out in a hurry. Most of the men who come at you are running on emotion, and emotion has a short fuse. Wait long enough, and they self-destruct. Your job is not to push them off the cliff. Your job is to do nothing while they walk toward it on their own. This is calculated inaction, and it is not laziness. It takes more strength to sit still while someone provokes you than it does to lash out. Lashing out is easy. Any fool can swing. Stillness under fire is the rare thing. Stillness under fire is the mark of a man who knows he's already won. But I won't lie to you about what this costs, because it does cost, and the man who pretends it's free is selling you something. That's the next law, and it's the honest one. Law 9, the toll. Here is the part the loud videos never tell you. This path has a price, and you're going to pay it when you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop being endlessly available. You are going to lose people. Some of them will call you changed, cold, distant, not the man you used to be, and it's going to sting, because some of those voices will belong to people you care about. But understand exactly what's happening. You are not losing people who loved you. You are losing people who loved what you did for them. The friend who only called when he needed to dump his problems. The ones who liked you best when you were easy to use. When you stop being convenient, they don't grieve you. They just look for the next convenient man. That's not a loss. That's a filter doing its job. This is the cold truth Machiavelli understood about loyalty. Most of it is not love. It's an exchange. People stay as long as the trade serves them. And the moment it stops, so do they. The man who knows this stops being shocked by betrayal because he stopped expecting loyalty he never bought. So yes, the crowd around you will thin, the phone will get quieter. There will be nights it feels like you traded warmth for power and got robbed in the deal. Sit in that. Don't run back to being used just to fill the silence. Because what's left after the filter is the only thing that was ever real. A small circle of men who respect you when you offer them nothing. And one man you finally have on your side, completely, for the first time in your life. Yourself. And that brings us to the last law, the one I promised at the very start. The single line that decides whether everything you just learned makes you a king or makes you a coward. Law 10, the throne or the cave. Remember the promise. Most men who go silent are not powerful, they're hiding. So here is the line that separates the two, and you have to be honest with yourself when you hear it. Two men can sit in the exact same silence. From the outside they look identical. Neither one reacts, neither one explains, neither one chases, but one of them is on a throne and the other is in a cave. And the difference is not in what they do, it's in where it comes from. The man in the cave is silent because he's afraid. He stopped reacting. Because reacting got him hurt, he went quiet to protect a wound. His stillness is a flinch that learned to hold still. And people feel it. They feel the fear underneath the calm, and fear never commands respect. It invites the predator closer. The man on the throne is silent because he decided to be. He could destroy you with a word, and he's choosing not to spend it. His stillness isn't protecting a wound. It's the calm of a man who has nothing left to prove and nothing he's afraid to lose. And people feel that too. They feel the fullness underneath the quiet, and that is the thing that makes a room go still when he walks in. Same posture, opposite source. One is built on fear, the other is built on fullness. And you cannot fake the difference, because everyone can smell which one you are. So this is the whole thing, the line I promised you. Silence from fear makes you prey. Silence from strength makes you a king. If you go quiet to hide, you've just made yourself a quieter target. You only earn the throne when your silence comes from a man who is full, not a man who is running. That's the work. Not to feel nothing. To become so complete that you don't need the reaction. Don't need the explanation. Don't need to be understood. Don't need the crowd. You move through the world unmoved, not because the world stopped touching you, but because nothing it does can shake a man who is already whole. So here's where you stand. You've seen the flinch and what it costs you. You've learned that being readable is being owned. That silence is a weapon when it's decided and a wound when it's begged. That withdrawal pulls when it's scarce and vanishes when it's hiding. You've learned to refuse the frame, to kill the need to be understood, to armor yourself without going numb, to outlast instead of outfight, and to pay the toll without flinching. And you've learned the last line, throne or cave, fullness or fear. Knowing it changes nothing. Living it changes everything. So pick one law, just one. For the next 7 days, practice it every time the world tries to move you. Watch how people start treating you differently. Watch how the buttons stop working. And say it one more time, out loud in the comments. Nothing moves me. Say it because you mean it now. If this hit something in you, you're not just watching this channel. You're one of us now, the men who stopped being easy to move. Subscribe and stand with us, because the next one goes deeper. I'm going to show you the 7 things a powerful man never says out loud, and why every word you give away is a weapon you just handed your enemy. You don't want to miss it. The world is getting louder, softer, more desperate to be seen. That's your opening. While they react, you'll watch while they explain. You'll wait. While they beg to be understood, you'll already be 3 moves ahead. Stay unmoved.